Morning E-Dirt. So we've been building up to what is going to be an incredible 2017. It just started. This weekend, banged out there, and EWXC first event of the year. Very, very, very cool to see so many people that keen, literally ripping off their bars, trying to get ready to get go and racing. Gary Franks, the EWXC crew, put on a real good ride out there. Serendipity, lovely venue to open up our account, about 2 hours outside of Johannesburg, and we did see a massive entry of riders. They laid out a more flowy track this time around. It allowed the pros to run around about 35-minute laps, but pretty consistent as well. Pretty much no bottlenecks that we heard of as well. So it was nice to see the guys really enjoying their time on the bikes and getting themselves ready for what is going to be an absolutely insane start to the 2017 season. As far as the lads that were out there as well, very cool as always. It's great to see the season always starts so early on. It's always going to start around about the time of the opening round of the EWXCs. So to see a lot of the guys with fresh plastics, all the fresh gear, everyone changing bikes, changing sponsors, very, very cool to actually see it on the ground. I do a lot of research behind the scenes and I'm in touch with a lot of the teams and the riders and the families, but to see them on the ground, it's just fun, you know, lots of high fives going on this weekend and everyone just locking it in, getting themselves ready. A couple of new sponsors, a couple of new changes, all good stuff, all very, very, very positive. On the big banger side of things, the Pro Elite category probably had one of the strongest lineups I've seen. Unfortunately, Brett Swanepoel, who normally comes all the way up from KZN to rock out in the EWXC series, he obviously picked up a early pre-season injury, and he's trying to just lock himself in and come right for the opening round of the Enduro Nationals. That's now happening in 2 weeks' time. What was left then? The winningest man in EWXC history, Dwayne O'Clanums, had first gate pick. He was ranked number 1. He ran flag to flag the whole way through the race, untouched. He had a big crash on the opening lap, got a little bit of an injury to his fingernail, a little bit of boerewors coming out from that, but he'll be fine with that. He was walking around with an ice pack on it and didn't seem to slow him down. In fact, he got faster by laps 3 and 4 to extend away. One of the coolest stories of the day was that Brian Capper dusted himself off, old BC. He came back and obviously the headliner for the BCR Yamaha Arrow Racing Squad. Very cool to see him throw a couple of laps out there in anger, and he was able to run into a second place finish. He says he's not going to do too many of the events, but I think he just wanted to remind people that he's still there and he can still get the job done. So well done, BC. Great to see you ripping the bars. Third place finish on the day in the Pro Elites was Charon Moore. Normally a pinner, very, very fast in the off-roads, but just a cool kid that could just turn his hand to absolutely anything. He's riding under Lesotho Tourism colors this year. Still rocking the Yamaha, favoring the 450. Pretty much a flat-out off-road bike, but he does like to go rock dancing as well. He actually finished right on Brian's tail to grab that third place finish. Fourth place on the day, great to see another rider coming back from injury. And this was another one of the themes of the EWXC and the early events of 2017. Jared Kutsia, Jazz, he comes back. He crashed himself into oblivion last year. Had to take some time out. The knee injury was just getting too much and pretty much had to kiss away something like 7 or 8 months off his factory KTM. KTM stood by him, still inked his deal on the Brother Leader Trade KTM squad. Doesn't normally do a lot of enduro or enduro style events, so ragged style, but still fast as hell. So very cool. He actually got a 4th place finish on the day. And nice to see him on the smoker as well. He's obviously going to be going and attacking for KTM to try and nail down that OR3. That's essentially the 200cc deal in the off-roads. So those were the big bangers running out there. Also, one of the kids moving up there into the Pro Elite category, certainly for the EWXCs, was Edwin Bester. He inked his deal with the factory Sherco squad just before Roof, and nice to see him out there running in the full colors, and he was able to tag himself a top 10er. So he's just going to get himself comfortable on the machine. Said he hasn't had pretty much any time on the setup of that machine that he was riding, but he'll be able to figure that out. Yeah, real good numbers. All the names on the page. Very, very, very cool. Oh, yeah, in the Pro Elites as well, Zach Niemann, one of the heroes that runs in the National Off-Roads and predominantly in the GXCCs in the OR1 category, he was out there in Serendipity riding Enduro on his big 500. Respect, Zach. Respect. The rest of the categories, Loads of juniors. Very, very cool buy-in this year from the junior Rad Motos team. A lot of the other teams as well from Vans Racing. Everyone coming together. Lots and lots and lots of kids. Probably the biggest entry we've seen from our junior categories out there as well as the Pro Minis. The Pro Minis being the 85s that actually go out there and do the big loops. Just dominated by the Rad Motos team. So it's going to be very cool to watch those kids. And of course, they have that full national junior enduro tour. So they're just keen as mustard, and because of that tour, they're obviously going to be going out and getting themselves more enduro ready. They get a lot of flat out high speed riding at the GXCCs, but to get more enduro ready, they're going to be bouncing on the rocks at the EWXCs. We had a load of buy-in from the parents as well, so very, very good support. And I think in the end, around about 250 entries, which I think Gary was telling me one of the biggest entries he's had on a pre-season, early season event. On the senior and master side of things, very interesting. Specifically on the masters, there's always that old war between Otto Horlacher and Sean Kirk. They're so evenly matched, completely different characters, completely different riding styles, but very evenly matched on the trails. They were running the numbers out there. Big crash, Sean Kirk went down. Otto, we actually have the images as well from Action in Motion to show you guys the moments when Sean Kirk tucked the front going down a rock slab. Good mate Otto there helped him come right, but while that was happening, Wayne Everton had stealthily made his way from the back of the pack, the big man from Brother, riding the new Injection KTM. Not too many of those kicking around in the world at the moment, but he's got friends in high places. He was able to charge through the pack, came through, made the pass, probably just maybe 3-4 kilometers before the end, came through, took the first big win. So well done, Wayne. Well done for Sean for picking himself up, and Otto for being the big man out there and playing the team game and making sure his buddy got home safe. The rest of the categories, there's too many names to mention, to be honest. Very cool racing and a great start to the opener of 2017. Right, so a little bit of news for us now. We're always working behind the scenes to bring you an even better program, a better product here at Hollywood Hills. And a lot of people are noticing that and coming and buying in and supporting and becoming partners with us. On that line, Sherco, Factory Sherco, coming on board, Sherco South Africa, a new sponsor to Hollywood Hills. So welcome to you guys. And as part of our welcome, we'd like to talk to you about the 2017 Sherco team. Obviously, the big liner, the big banger, the headliner, Wade Young. He got onto the purple or very dark blue machines a little while ago now. Brought home their first big win at the beginning of last year. That was at Hell's Gate. And yeah, had a bit of a scrappy international year last year, but we know that he's back on point. He just came off a top 3 at his first international this year. So he's in good form going forward, and he's the headliner. He's going to be making it out to South Africa for most of the rounds of the Senior National Enduro Tour, and we'll expect to see him as one of the big threats, once again going forward, to take his category wins and of course the overall title. Another rider we're going to watch out for just towards the end of last year, pretty much just before Roof, Timmy Young. Very talented rider down from Port Elizabeth. Seems to have a very good fit on the Sherco going forward, and we'll expect to see him improving his results as he gets a little bit more comfortable with the machine. Last year in the Masters category, Justin Broughton, really a good rider in his age category, but a good rider overall as well. Great brand ambassador as well, works very well. More often than not on the podium, able to bring home some big results also. He'll be climbing the ladder. He's trying to chase down on a couple of the big bangers just a little bit further up the road. I think 2017 is his year that he's going to make that jump and be able to just get that confidence to go for the big wins, knowing that he is a threat. He got very comfortable on the 450. He stays with the 450 majority of the events throughout the year. Brandon Faree, he was one of the first pickups for Sherco, one of the junior riders that we watched develop over the last couple of years. A little bit scrappy in the 2016 tour. Keeps his seat on the Sherco squad going forward though, and I think he'll also be having a word with himself. Very, very good rider on the national off-roads. Kind of overrode the bike a little bit last year. I don't think he'll mind me saying that. Just got a little bit wild where he didn't have to, smoothing it out, and he'll still be a rider to watch out for as we move on down the road. Natasha Regani, always cool to see a team pick up a talented lady rider going forward. She's going to be racing a little bit of motocross as well. So Ian Fenter, the team principal, is going to be very busy. I spoke to him yesterday, or this weekend should I say, at the EWXCs. And you think my calendar's wild. He has to really hustle, and you know, he's going to be out GXCCs, National Enduros, National Off-Road, as well as the National MX. But Natasha Regani, nice pickup there for the squad. Scott Woods, Another name that we'll start to become a little bit more familiar with, Coastal Rider. I think he's going to be riding under Timmy Young, getting a lot of development, and I think it's a name that we'll start seeing coming forward. We'll be watching out for him in the senior ranks. Of course, I already mentioned Ian Fenter, team principal. He's been on KTM for quite a few years now, working under different umbrella teams. He worked with Rad, he's worked with Centurion KTM. Very good rider, good at his marketing as well. So nice to see a rider coming on board as almost like a player manager, as we used to say in the football days. So he's going to be doing a lot of the off-road riding, a little bit of rock hopping, but very much a managerial role, and it's going to be very cool. Well done, Ian, and of course, well done to the entire Sherco squad coming on board for 2017. A brand that's trying to get themselves into the mix, of course, with Wade Young and a lot of the big bangers on the team. They're going to be able to really make an impact in 2017. They truly have become the fourth factory squad, going up against the might of KTM, Yamaha, and Husqvarna. 2017, we might be seeing there's a chance of new riders and new manufacturers or different manufacturers getting onto the top step at every single round. That's how competitive it's become. Edouard Bester, we spoke about him, one of the riders coming out of a good result this weekend at the EWXCs. Edouard, another rider that we've seen develop really well, coming out of Nuts Racing, a lot of family support. His dad's always out there at the races, and a rider that I'd picked at the end of, I think it was 2 years ago, to get onto a factory squad. He stayed kind of humble. He stayed with a shop deal on the Centurion KTM squad, and he's moved that forward to go full factory now. So it's nice to see a kid like that eventually get his dues and get onto a factory seat. Obviously, 2017 is his year to now prove his worth on the factory squad. But already this weekend, he's proven himself a great brand ambassador. Good, well-behaved, well-brought-up kid, and yeah, I think he's going to be a star of the future for sure. Final rider on the squad, Nardis Rabi. Also, very, very talented rider. Also comes off a different brand from last year, steps off the orange onto the purple, or dark blue as I like to say. Nardis Rabi, very, very talented rider. Starting to come good as well. You know, we've watched him develop. He's got a lot of practice time out there. He stays around all the areas that we use for the GXCC. He's got a good practice track. He's buddied up with people like Cameron Becker and Lo Schmidt and Taki Bojajis. They've kind of taken him under their wing, and we are going to see this kid come good. Bit of a star in the 125 side of things. It looks like he's moving up, kind of like dancing between the 125s and the 254 strokes. He's in that like crossover bracket between the high schools and the next step up. Nardis, very good spot, very good pick. And it's interesting to see teams like this work with a rider who hasn't quite made the breakthrough, but you can see it's going to happen. It's got to happen. And with that competitive style of riding that's coming out of the 125 class, a good pick. So a very solid squad coming out of Sherco Factory. And once again, great to have them on board as one of our partners going forward with Hollywood Hills. So what's coming up? Well, this coming weekend, we're going to wobble down the road to Bronkhorstspruit for the opening round of the GXCCs. Been in contact with Lawrence Mahoney in Maryland. They've got a killer track for us there. We're expecting probably a 300 rider plus entry once again, as we always do with the GXCCs. He's got a lot of sponsors back on board, and I think we've been blessed with this amazing rain. He's chuffed to bits, literally. He's high-fiving me every day as we're talking about the rain. It's all good news. We know the GXCCs do tend to suffer a little bit with the dust, but we have had 3 good weeks of plenty of rain. So Bronkhorstspruit, I actually drove out there this weekend for the Chinese New Year celebrations. Lots of green mealie fields. That just tells me the dirt is going to be nice and, you know, it's not going to be dry. It's not going to be a dust bowl. It's going to be maybe like 2 or 3 inches of sediment before we get down to the dust. That means maybe laps 2, 3, we might see the crust breaking off. But the opening laps, which is where the dust does become a problem, should not be a problem this time around. We're hoping for a great result. A little bit of news for us as well here at Hollywood Hills. We've partnered up with our vehicle sponsor, and we're starting things out for 2017 at Bronkhorstspruit. Mercedes-Benz Bedford View, under the cargo umbrella. These guys are going to be looking after us for this first event, and hopefully it's the beginning of a fruitful relationship going forward. We're hooking up, we're rolling in style with the brand new Mercedes Vito. I'll be reporting back on how the race went at Bronkhorstspruit, and also we'll talk about how the vehicle coped with that trip with us animals rolling down the road in it. Pretty much straight after that, I'm hitting a road trip with my pal Will we're going to be heading down to KZN and making our way back. We'll end off that road trip in the Mercedes at Dundee. That's in 2 weeks' time for the opening round of the Liquorland National Enduro Championship. We've been talking a lot about that. There's a lot of social media buzz, and most of the riders that I saw this weekend will be down there as well. They were basically getting themselves ready. We know there's a race next weekend as well. It's obviously GXCCs. I'm going to be there, but at the same time, there's a low felt enduro, and we will maybe lose 1 or 2 riders up to that one. But good luck to everyone who's heading to the low felt. I'll see you out there at Bronkhorstspruit for the GXCCs. And once again, a welcome on board and adding another big name to the list. Sherco, Mercedes-Benz, Bedford View. It's going to be absolutely amazing to have you guys on board. A couple of specials coming up for next month. Right now, just a final reminder that Rad Motos is going to be closing down at the end of this coming week for their annual stock take. That's going to be cool. End of a stock take always means there's going to be specials coming up soon, so watch the press for that. For now, Hollywood Hills signing off. We've got the first race in the bag, baby. It starts here.